My fiancée smiled and said she'd accepted another man's proposal while still wearing my ring. Hi, I'm Louis, 33, and 5 nights ago my fiancée came home wearing my engagement ring to tell me she'd accepted another man's proposal. You should appreciate that I'm being honest instead of cheating, she said. That's how the conversation started. Not, I'm sorry. Not, this is hard. But that. Like I should hand her a gold star for decency. We'd been engaged 8 months. Together for 3 years. Wedding planned for April. Venue booked, dress bought, my mom crying happy tears over flower arrangements last week. All of it. Gone. I'm a commercial pilot for a regional airline based out of Phoenix. Most people think the job is glamorous. It's not. You live out of a suitcase half the week and eat whatever airport sushi doesn't smell suspicious. But I loved the stability. I loved knowing Chloe was at home waiting for me. Not anymore. Tuesday night, I got back from a 3-day run. I was exhausted. Walked through the door already half dreaming of pizza and sleep. Chloe walked in 20 minutes later and just stood in the entryway like she was delivering a subpoena. I need to talk to you, she said. Pilot instinct kicked in. Something was off in her tone. Too calm. Like she'd already decided what was about to happen and rehearsed it in her head. Then she said it. Wyatt proposed to me yesterday at lunch. I said yes. I laughed. I actually laughed. Thought it was a bad joke or one of those viral TikTok pranks where people fake confess awful things to get a reaction. But she wasn't joking. She looked so weirdly serene. Like some self-actualized guru just announcing her new path. My laugh died. You're serious? I said. She nodded. I know this is hard. But I have to follow my heart. My heart? My ring's on your finger. She didn't even sit down. Just stood there as if confessing to switching toothpaste brands. Apparently, this Wyatt guy is her ex from college. Dated for 3 years. Broke up 7 years ago. Moved away. Moved back 4 months ago. Works in her office now. They reconnected. And in 4 months, while planning a wedding with me, she rekindled her old flame enough to accept his proposal at lunch? Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Why not break off our engagement before you said yes to someone else? She shrugged. I didn't plan this. I didn't expect it. But the feelings never went away. And Wyatt he's my soulmate. I settled with you because I thought he was gone forever. But now that he's back, I have to be true to myself. I looked around my condo, our condo, and suddenly none of it felt real. She just stood there waiting for me to say something like, I understand, or I wish you the best. What I said was, get out. She blinked. Can we talk about this like adults? No. You don't get to come home and tell me you accepted another man's proposal and then ask me to talk about it over tea like we're coworkers reviewing a project plan. Take what you need for tonight. Get out of my house. She looked hurt. Actually hurt. Like I was the one breaking her heart. She left. Then she texted me an hour later. I hope you can be happy for me eventually. This doesn't have to be ugly. I stared at that message for 10 full minutes. She cheated emotionally, broke our engagement, and expected civility. No apology. No remorse. Just vibes. She told her parents. I called them the next day, expecting. I don't know. Sympathy? Shock? Instead, her father said, Wyatt's a good man, Louis. We always hoped they'd reconnect someday. Her mother. At least she was honest with you instead of sneaking around. You're taking this too personally. Too personally? I'm supposed to treat being publicly humiliated and left like a dry cleaning receipt with emotional maturity? I canceled the wedding that same day. Lost the deposit. Don't care. I've been asking myself ever since. Am I crazy? Is this where we're at as a society? A woman accepts a new proposal while still engaged to someone else and expects to be thanked for being honest? I'm Louis. I was someone's second choice and didn't even know it. Until she threw my life in the trash for a fantasy she couldn't let go of. And now I'm about to find out just how real that fantasy is. I couldn't sleep that first night. Kept staring at the ceiling fan spinning like the thoughts in my head. Who does that? Who accepts another man's proposal while engaged and acts like it's noble? And then it hit me. She didn't just throw me away. She threw away 3 years of loyalty, shared rent, holiday flights, my family's love, the actual life we were building. For a guy who ghosted her 7 years ago. Because yeah, I remembered that part. Vaguely. Chloe had mentioned him once early in our relationship. Wyatt. College ex ended badly. Didn't say much else. So around 2 a.m., I pulled out my phone and went looking. First stop, LinkedIn. Wyatt Harding. Regional Sales Manager. Same pharmaceutical company as Chloe. Transferred to the Phoenix office in August. There it was. Then Facebook. Jackpot. This dude has zero privacy settings. His entire feed is a Hallmark Channel highlight reel, and by Hallmark Channel, I mean the weird ones where every post includes his mother. Every single one. Sunday brunch with the best woman in the world. Selfie with his mom. Mom helped me pick out a new blazer for the big meeting. Only one person makes pancakes like this. Guess who? I kept scrolling and I swear, it was like watching Norman Bates go corporate. His mom, Helen Harding, comments on every post. Full essays of adoration. 3 heart emojis per meal. That's my boy. On a dry cleaning pickup. I found a post from 3 weeks ago. Wyatt smiling at a downtown steakhouse, captioned, "Big changes coming soon." His mom commented, "Follow your heart, sweetie. I know it's leading you home." Home? I kept digging. Found an old tag post from one of Wyatt's college friends. Underneath it, a buried comment from Helen. Wyatt needs a woman who respects family values. That other girl was never right for him. That other girl being Chloe. I sat back in bed and just stared at the screen. She left me, a stable guy, a guy who was literally about to marry her, for a man who once dumped her by text because his mother said she was too independent. Yeah. Found that out the next morning when I called Devin, our mutual friend from college. "Dude," he said, as soon as I asked about Wyatt. "That Wyatt?" "Yep. Man, Chloe was a wreck when he dumped her. We were all there. She cried for weeks. He didn't even call. Just ended things over text. Everyone hated him. I remember someone saying it was his mom's doing. Bingo. So let's do the math. Chloe dated Wyatt in college. Wyatt's mom didn't like her. Wyatt dumped her via text. 7 years later, he resurfaces, proposes, and Chloe thinks this is destiny? No, babe. That's not destiny. That's derangement. But here's where it really locked in for me. I found out Wyatt still lists his mother as his emergency contact at work. Not Chloe. He lives 3 miles from her. Same apartment complex. Walkable. Mommy proximity optimized. So while Chloe thinks she found her long-lost soulmate, she has no clue she's just moved into the orbit of a man whose mommy literally chooses his suits. I told my co-pilot Hayes everything that night over drinks. He nearly choked on his beer. "Dude, you're gonna let this go, right?" I smiled. "Nope." Because I realized something. Chloe wanted to be honest? So would I. All I did was gather the facts. Screenshots of her accepting Wyatt's proposal. Our engagement photos. Her messages to me. Timeline receipts. And Helen Harding's very public Facebook account. And then I drafted the message. Short. Professional. Cold as the oxygen at 30,000 feet. I'd send it Friday night. To Wyatt's mother. Let's see how that soulmate story holds up under real scrutiny. Friday night, 8:03 p.m. I hit send. I wasn't nervous. I felt calm. Almost peaceful. Like a surgeon making the first incision. Here's what I wrote. "Mrs. Harding. You don't know me, but I thought you might want to be aware of something. Your son Wyatt recently proposed to a woman named Chloe Brennan. What he may not have mentioned is that Chloe and I have been together for the past 3 years. We've been engaged for 8 months. Our wedding was scheduled for this April. I've attached evidence of our engagement, including photos, wedding contracts, and screenshots of messages from Chloe confirming her acceptance of Wyatt's proposal while still engaged to me. I don't want anything from you. I just figured, given how close you and your son are, you'd want to know the full context. Regards. Lewis." No threats. No dramatics. Just a controlled payload of facts. Then I turned off my phone and opened a beer. Hayes came over, saw the smug look on my face, and just said, "You did it, didn't you?" I nodded. He clinked bottles with me. To Petty Aviation Justice. Saturday morning, 9:01 a.m. New message. From Helen Harding. "Thank you for bringing this to my attention. This is absolutely unacceptable. I will handle this. That was it. 3 sentences. But it read like a guillotine blade dropping. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. Just sat back and waited. Monday morning, I was in the cockpit doing pre-flight checks when my phone started buzzing like it had a vendetta. 7 missed texts from Devin. Dude. You are not going to believe this. Wyatt's MOM just showed up at their office. She's losing her mind. I had to wait until we landed in San Diego to call him back. Devin was practically hyperventilating. Here's what happened. At 10:12 a.m., Helen Harding stormed into the Phoenix corporate office of Mirion Pharmaceuticals like a woman possessed. Walked straight past reception. Marched up to the front desk and demanded they page her son. Tell him his mother needs to speak with him. Now. Wyatt came down, saw her standing there, and apparently went full sheet white. She lit into him before he could even say hello. You proposed to a woman who's already engaged. I warned you about her. She's a manipulator. A liar. I told you not to fall for that trash again. The receptionist called security, but not before half the office was crowded around the glass balcony watching this woman roast her 33-year-old son like he was a teenager who snuck out past curfew. Then came the grand finale. Chloe came down the stairs. Bad. Move. Helen turned toward her like a shark that smelled blood in the water. You snake. You cheated on your fiancé and then tried to trap my son? You are disgusting. Stay away from him. Then she said, and I quote, according to 3 witnesses. He may be stupid, but he's still my stupid, and I will not let you ruin his life a second time. Security escorted her out, screaming the whole time. Chloe stood there stunned, mascara running, trying to play it off like a misunderstanding. But the office saw it all. Amber, Chloe's co-worker, messaged me that night. Everyone's talking about it. It was like a Greek tragedy, but with Botox and business casual. But wait. It gets better. Because that afternoon, Wyatt called Chloe. 5-minute conversation. And you know what he said? My mother's right. This was a mistake. Then he blocked her. Phone. Text. Instagram. Email. Everything. She tried calling his office the next day. Reception told her he was unavailable. Tried going to his apartment that evening. He didn't answer. Ladies and gentlemen, Wyatt has left the building. And me? I got a text from Chloe at 11:44 p.m. Monday night. Did you do this? I stared at it for a moment. Then replied, do what? You know what? That's what Chloe texted back. You contacted his mother, didn't you? I left her on read for 5 full hours. Not to be cruel, I was flying a red-eye to Chicago and honestly, it felt good to ignore her for once. When I landed and finally responded, I kept it clinical. I shared accurate information with someone who deserved to know it. What happened after that wasn't my doing. She replied almost instantly. You're cruel. You destroyed my happiness. That one made me laugh out loud, right there in the terminal Starbucks. Chloe destroyed my trust, my engagement, and my peace of mind, and I was the cruel one. Because I told the truth? That's when I knew she still didn't get it. This wasn't about me ruining anything. It was about me revealing it. So I sent one final message. Chloe, you accepted another man's proposal while wearing my ring. You told me I was your backup. You chose a guy who dumped you via text because his mommy said so. And now? He did it again. That's not my fault. That's just who he is. Don't contact me again. Blocked her right after. Then I kicked my feet up in the hotel room and just breathed. But the world wasn't done. Because by Wednesday, the fallout was going nuclear. Amber sent me a message that Chloe's manager had to pull her aside for a private meeting. Apparently, Chloe had been missing deadlines, crying in the bathroom, showing up late, and spending way too much time staring out the window like a heartbroken Disney villain. Word had spread. People were talking. And Chloe, who used to float around that office like Queen Bee in heels, was suddenly radioactive. But the best update? Wyatt. Or more specifically, Wyatt's Facebook. Still public. Still a digital shrine to his mom. New post. Just 3 weeks after the office explosion. Dinner with the 2 most important women in my life. Photo, Wyatt, his mother, and a new woman. Blonde. Professional looking. Wearing a pearl necklace like she was personally approved by Helen Harding, CEO of All Decisions. Caption. So grateful to have found someone who understands the importance of family values. Oh. My. God. She picked him over me. She dumped me for a fantasy. And in 3 weeks, he replaced her with a woman mommy actually likes. Amber said when Chloe saw the post, she didn't say a word for an hour. Just sat at her desk, pale, scrolling through the comments. And yes, Helen commented. She's perfect for you, sweetheart. So proud of the man you've become. I nearly bought a bottle of champagne. Meanwhile, Chloe's parents? Oh, they finally decided to chime in. I got an email from her dad. Subject line, disappointed in you. Inside. We heard what you did. You had no right to sabotage our daughter's happiness just because you couldn't handle her finding real love. You should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed? I was ready to print that email out and frame it. But instead, I wrote back one last time. Your daughter accepted another man's proposal while engaged to me. I gave factual information to someone who deserved the truth. That's not sabotage. That's clarity. If Wyatt truly loved her, a Facebook message from me wouldn't have undone anything. What happened is the direct result of your daughter's decisions, and Wyatt's character. You should be ashamed you ever encouraged her to pursue someone who already abandoned her once. They blocked me after that. Fine by me. Because here's the truth, the people who thought I was overreacting started switching sides real quick. Even our mutual friends. Even the ones who were doing the whole love is messy song and dance. Now, the group chat was lighting up with memes, popcorn gifs, and messages like, I cannot believe she thought that guy was an upgrade. She threw away a pilot for a mama's boy who lives down the street from his mom? This is the best plot twist I've ever seen unfold in real time. And me? I was finally sleeping through the night. And starting to realize. Maybe she didn't break me. Maybe she freed me. 3 weeks post-nuke and the dominoes just kept falling. According to Amber, who, bless her, has fully embraced the role of inside source, Chloe's life was imploding in slow motion. She'd been pulled into another performance review meeting after missing a major deliverable and crying in the women's restroom for 45 minutes. The company was concerned about her emotional stability, and HR was watching closely. But the real drama? Her parents. Remember those two? The ones who told me I was taking it too personally, and said Wyatt was always the one. Yeah. They're not so smug anymore. Apparently, Chloe's mom made some passive-aggressive comment like, we didn't know Wyatt was so emotionally attached to his mother. To which Chloe reportedly snapped, you're the ones who pushed me to leave Lewis for him. Oof. That line reached me through the grapevine and made me sit back with my coffee like, wow. What a beautiful little accountability grenade. Devin texted me later that day. Dude. Her family dynamic is toast. Her mom's embarrassed, her dad's mad, and Chloe's stuck trying to defend the dude who ghosted her twice because his mommy said so. Everyone's pointing fingers. Karma was fully caffeinated and operating with precision. Meanwhile, Wyatt? Still living his best step-forward life. His Facebook timeline had become an accidental satire of helicopter parenting. His new girlfriend, named Emily, apparently, was now tagging his mother in their posts. Double date night with Wyatt and Helen. So blessed to have such a supportive future mother-in-law. Every photo looked like Helen had picked out Emily's dress and coached her on what to say. But Emily was exactly Helen's speed, polite, mild, family-oriented, and apparently cool with sharing her man with his lifelong roommate/mom. Chloe? Did not take it well. Amber messaged me again. Apparently, Chloe was seen crying during her lunch break after she got tagged in a memory from our engagement party a year ago. Here's where things get interesting. Week 3. Friday night. I get a knock on my condo door. I check the Ring camera. It's her. Chloe. Standing there in jeans, no makeup, holding what looked like a tote bag and some kind of baked good. I didn't answer. Instead, I hit the intercom. What do you want? She looked up, startled. Lewis. Please. Can we talk? No. Leave or I'll call the police for trespassing. I made a mistake. She said. I was confused. I was caught up in the past. You made a choice. I said. Now you live with it. Goodbye. She stood there for 5 minutes. Didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just stood there like a kid outside a locked classroom. Then she left. 20 minutes later, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Please. I realize what I had with you now. I was stupid. I was chasing something that wasn't real. Can we just talk? Blocked. Next morning? A letter. An actual handwritten letter slid under my door like it was 1850. Didn't open it. Just threw it straight into the trash. Final straw came last week. Chloe emailed my work email. Last resort, I guess. Subject line, was it worth it? Inside. I lost Wyatt. I lost you. My coworkers judge me. My parents are disappointed in me. I destroyed my own life. Was this worth it to you? Did you get what you wanted? I stared at that email for a solid 10 minutes. Hayes saw it and said, "Don't respond. You already won." But I responded. Because I needed to. Chloe, you didn't lose me. You threw me away for someone else. You chose a man who already abandoned you once because his mom didn't approve, and he did it again. That wasn't me sabotaging anything. That was his character. You picked nostalgia over reality. You picked a man who needs permission to love. I didn't destroy your life. You did. Don't contact me again through any channel. We're done. Blocked her email. And just like that, silence. You ever deep clean a room after a breakup? I mean really clean it. Pull the furniture away from the wall, toss stuff you didn't even know you were still holding onto, that kind of purge. That was me the Saturday after I sent that final email. I tore through the condo like I was exorcising it. Out went the throw pillow she picked. The fake eucalyptus wreath she insisted on hanging above the TV. The "Live Laugh Love" print in the bathroom? Trashed with aggressive joy. I took down every photo of us, cleared space in the closet, boxed up the random mugs and trinkets she left behind. Every trace of her? Gone. I even bought new bedding. Navy blue. No frilly decorative pillows. Just masculine, clean, and mine. The place felt lighter. Hayes came over that night, looked around and said, "Dude, your apartment finally looks like a single man actually lives here." Exactly the point. And here's the kicker. That same day, I took the engagement ring, which had been sitting in a drawer like a loaded gun, and went back to the jeweler. I told him the truth. She left me for a guy who listens to his mother more than his own thoughts. I don't need this anymore. He looked at me, dead serious, and said, "Say no more." Store policy was no refunds. But the guy gave me 70% back. Said I deserved a win? I walked out with a check and a stupid grin on my face. Small victory? No. It felt massive. Next few weeks, I leaned into work. Flew a ton. Let the rhythm of checklists and altitude and radio chatter wash over me. Every time I hit 30,000 feet, I left the drama down on the ground. Literally. I also started dating again. Nothing serious. Just drinks, laughs, and stories that didn't involve betrayal and childhood trauma disguised as romance. And I'll say this, there's something really refreshing about talking to a woman who doesn't bring up her ex, her soulmate, or her mom's opinion within the first 30 minutes. One of them, a nurse named Talia, asked about my last relationship. I gave her the short version. She left me for her college ex. He proposed while she was still engaged to me. Talia just blinked and said, "Wow. You dodged a missile with a mom tracking system." God, I liked her immediately. But I wasn't rushing anything. I didn't need to. Because for the first time in months, maybe longer, I felt grounded. Even my family noticed. My sister Sloane sent me a text, "Proud of you. You handled that with class." If it were me, Chloe would have gone viral. My dad, he hugged me the next time I saw him, said, "You walked through fire, son. And you didn't throw gasoline back. That's something." I'd be lying if I said there weren't moments I still thought about her. Grief is weird like that. It sneaks up when you least expect it. A song in an airport lounge, a stranger wearing her perfume, an old voicemail you forgot was saved. But then I remember what she said to me that night in our living room. "I settled with you." That sentence burned itself into my bones. And now? It's a compass. Anytime I feel nostalgic or start to ask, "What if?" I just come back to that. She didn't just hurt me. She devalued me. And she expected me to clap for it. But I didn't clap. I didn't beg. I didn't spiral. I showed her what happens when you trade stability for fantasy, and find out the hard way that soulmates don't live with their mothers. Let's talk about revenge. Not the dramatic, set his car on fire kind. I'm talking about the quiet, surgical kind. The kind where you don't raise your voice. You just raise the truth and let the world do what it does. Because here's what happened 2 weeks after I blocked Chloe on every channel. I ran into her dad. At the grocery store. Of all places. I was grabbing cereal, standing there debating between something healthy and something with marshmallows because I'm 33 and no one can stop me, and I hear behind me, "Louis." I turn. And there he is. Mr. Wyatt's from a good family. He looked smaller. Like he'd aged a decade in 3 weeks. Hair a little messier. Shirt wrinkled. Holding a basket with exactly 2 items, toothpaste and a single lemon. He cleared his throat. I just wanted to say. I held up a hand. No need. I gave him a polite nod and turned back to the cereal. He didn't say another word. Just stood there for a second, then shuffled off down a different aisle. That, somehow, was the most satisfying moment of all. Because I didn't have to gloat. Didn't have to yell. Didn't even have to say anything. He knew. They all knew. Chloe's co-workers? Amber says the whispers never stopped. She's become the story. The girl who left her fiancé for the office golden boy, got dumped by his mom in the lobby, then tried to come crawling back like it never happened. Apparently, she avoids team lunches now. Doesn't make eye contact. Office morale meetings have soft skills slides that suspiciously resemble her exact timeline of choices. Her work best friend unfollowed her on Instagram. Even the wedding venue posted a vague but clearly about her warning to their vendor Facebook group. Reminder, please flag any clients who cancel last minute due to personal drama, especially if it involves surprise proposals. Oof. Meanwhile, Wyatt? Oh, Wyatt is thriving in his bubble. He and Emily are now Facebook official. She's been folded seamlessly into the Helen Harding universe. Matching Christmas sweaters. Sunday brunches. Helen posts about her like she personally manifested her from a scented candle. I even saw a post titled, "My son and his real match. Love wins." Chloe's nowhere in sight. Amber told me Chloe tried calling Wyatt 2 weeks ago. Reception said he no longer accepts personal calls at work. She emailed him. No reply. She DM'd him on Instagram, from a burner account because he blocked her original one. Still nothing. Apparently, she even drove to his apartment. Lights were on. He didn't answer the door. Amber overheard her on the phone afterwards saying, "I don't understand how he could just forget everything we had." Everything you had? You mean the office flirtation that started while you were wearing another man's ring? I didn't say that out loud, of course. I just sat back in my pilot seat and smiled. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's distance. It's living so well that they choke on the silence you leave behind. It always ends the same, doesn't it? When the fantasy crumbles, when the fairy tale gets evicted by reality, there's only one place left to turn. Back. To the one you threw away. Week 4. Wednesday night. I just landed in Dallas and was waiting on my crew meal when I saw the email. Subject line. Please. Just listen. From a new address I didn't recognize at first. But I knew who it was. Inside? Louis. I know I've burned every bridge. I know you probably hate me. But I need to say this anyway. I miss you. Not just the comfort, not just the life we had. I miss you. Your stupid pilot jokes. How you always knew when I was spiraling, even when I didn't. I was so sure I wanted Wyatt. He felt like unfinished business. A part of my past I needed to rewrite. But now I see it wasn't love. It was nostalgia. And it was weak. You were the real thing. You were steady. Kind. Real. I ruined that. I destroyed something solid for something I couldn't even hold. I'm not asking for another chance. I know I don't deserve that. I just needed you to know. I see it now. I'm sorry. Please be well. Chloe. I sat there staring at the screen while a flight attendant dropped off a plastic-wrapped chicken wrap and some pretzels. Didn't even touch them. The weird thing? I didn't feel angry. I didn't even feel smug. I just felt done. Because for the first time since this whole mess started, she didn't sound defensive. She didn't sound entitled. She sounded like someone who finally met the reality she chose, and realized it doesn't care how. Meant to be. It felt in her head. Wyatt was a symbol. That's all. An idea she'd wrapped in 7 years of fantasy and what-ifs. And when she finally had him? He came with a leash. Held by his mother. And she got yanked right off the pedestal she'd climbed. I forwarded the email to Hayes. He texted back 3 words. Don't you dare. I wasn't going to. I didn't even type a reply. I just archived the email, leaned back, and looked out the window at the tarmac lights blinking like the universe winking back at me. I was free. The wedding was cancelled. The ring was gone. The relationship was dead. But I was alive. I'd been the backup plan, this safe option. And I was done letting that define me. From now on, if I'm not someone's first choice, I'm not their choice at all. You know what's underrated? Peace. Not the yoga kind. Not the fake smile and move on kind. I'm talking about the real, deep, quiet kind. The kind that wraps around you like a weighted blanket and whispers, "She's gone, and that's a good thing." That's what I found in the weeks after Chloe's final email. No more texts. No more knocks on the door. No more emails through burner accounts like she was auditioning for a role in You. Just silence. And man, it was beautiful. The condo? It felt like mine again. Not just in the stuff, the new bedding, the lack of florals, the single-man fridge contents, but in the vibe. No more waiting for drama to walk through the door. I had my space. My job was solid. Hayes and I were flying 2 routes a week together, which meant a lot of late-night hotel bourbon and dark-humored vent sessions. One night, in Chicago, he looked over his glass and said, "You know, I kept waiting for you to fall apart." I raised an eyebrow. "But you didn't," he said. "You just let her implode on her own." I nodded. I didn't need revenge. I had gravity. We clinked glasses on that one. Then came the good surprise. 2 weeks ago, I got invited to a wedding. An old flight school buddy. We hadn't talked in years, but he was marrying a nurse he met during COVID. Small backyard ceremony. Needed one more guy to round out the groomsmen. I almost said no. But something in me, curiosity maybe, said go. And that's where I met Lena. She was the bride's cousin. Navy blue dress. Hair in a braid that looked like it could unravel a man's entire strategy for emotional distance. She asked what I did. I told her I was a pilot. She smiled and said, "So, a real grown-up with a uniform and free flight perks? You might be dangerous." I laughed. We talked for an hour before dinner. Sat next to each other during the reception. Ended up dancing to 2 slow songs, not because we were trying to make a move, but because everyone else was too drunk to stay upright. She asked about my last relationship. I gave her the short version. She didn't flinch. "You'd be surprised how many people trade real love for an old story they haven't let go of," she said. "But hey, sounds like you got lucky." I smiled. "Yeah. After a very weird, high-budget emotional crash landing." She laughed. "And it was easy. That's the thing I hadn't felt in a long time. Ease. Not walking on eggshells. Not waiting to be compared to someone else's past. Not living as the safe option in someone's head while they chase unfinished business in secret. Lena and I have been texting since. No expectations. No overthinking. Just 2 people who like talking to each other. And for once, I'm not rushing to define it. I'm not looking to replace anything. I'm just living. Eating cereal with marshmallows. Sleeping better. Flying cleaner routes. Existing in a life that no longer has Chloe in it, and not wanting her back for even a second. You know what's better than closure? Clarity. And I finally have both. About a week ago, something happened that brought it all full circle in the most ridiculous way possible. I was grabbing coffee before a flight, little shop in Terminal 3, and while I'm waiting for my iced Americano, someone taps me on the shoulder. I turn around. Devin. Our old mutual friend. The one who warned me about Wyatt being a human Labrador with a leash permanently attached to his mother. "Dude," he says, "you got a second? You are not gonna believe what I just heard." We grab a table in the corner, and he drops this. Chloe's quitting her job. Transferring to a branch office, in Tucson. Why? Because word finally got out about everything. Apparently, someone in the office leaked the full timeline, our engagement, Wyatt's proposal, Helen's meltdown in the lobby, the 2-week rebound to regret spiral, all of it. There's even a meme going around the office Slack channel. A split image of Chloe smiling in one photo and Wyatt ghosting her in the next. Caption. When you leave a pilot for a passenger and find out he doesn't have a parachute. Devin said the executive team had to do damage control because clients were hearing about the drama at Mirion. So now Chloe's leaving. Not because she wants to, but because she can't take the whispers, the glances, the reputation. And I'll admit, I should have felt bad. I really should have. But instead, I took a sip of my coffee and said, "You want to hear the craziest part?" Devin leaned in. "More than anything. I ran into her dad at Safeway," I said. "He couldn't even look me in the eye." Devin shook his head. "Man, how the hell did she screw it up this badly?" I shrugged. She had everything. A good life. A partner who had her back. Stability. She just couldn't stop chasing the fantasy version of her 20s. Now she's 30, Devin said, and alone in Tucson. It sounds brutal, but it's just real. Chloe always thought love was a rom-com, something loud and dramatic with big speeches and faded reunions. Wyatt checked the nostalgia box. Her parents co-signed the fantasy. And she jumped. No parachute. No plan. She thought I was the fallback. Turns out, I was the solid ground she never appreciated. And here's the part that's still blowing my mind. None of this, not the proposal, not the lies, not even Helen's meltdown, hurt me as much as that moment Chloe looked me in the eye and said, "I settled with you." That's the scar. But it's also the proof I needed. I was never second best. She just didn't know how to recognize first class when she had it. There's a phrase I heard once in flight school that stuck with me. A near miss is a second chance you only recognize on the ground. Back then, it was about close calls in the sky. Turbulence. Engine sputters. Bad landings you somehow walk away from. Now, it's Chloe. Because let me tell you what a near miss looks like in real life. It looks like a woman you thought was your future, telling you to be grateful she didn't cheat on you when she accepted another man's proposal. It looks like 3 years of shared rent and holiday plans and engagement photos, flushed in exchange for a man whose mother runs his love life like a hostile takeover. It looks like you staring at an empty ring box, wondering if you were ever really loved or just convenient. And it looks like her, 4 months later, transferring to Tucson, carrying nothing but a tote bag full of regrets and an office reputation that trails her like a bad credit score. That's a near miss. A future I almost married. And standing here now, thousands of feet above the ground, clean uniform, clear mind, autopilot humming, I see it for exactly what it was. She didn't outgrow me. She never grew at all. She was still chasing an old movie in her head, trying to recast the lead role and pretend that love means drama, angst, grand gestures. But love? Real love is boring in the best possible way. It's steady. It's consistent. It doesn't leave you for someone who once dumped you over brunch and a group text. And here's the wildest part. 2 nights ago, I had dinner with Lena again. Same nurse I met at the wedding. She wore this simple black dress, hair tied up, no drama, just that quiet confidence people don't even realize they're radiating. Midway through dinner, she asked, "So what did you learn from your last relationship?" I didn't hesitate. "Not to settle," I said. She nodded, smiled, and lifted her glass. "To knowing your worth." We clinked glasses. And I swear, right then, in that little clatter of glass, I felt something settle in me that hadn't before. Peace. Closure. Gratitude. Because for the first time since that Tuesday night when Chloe came home with another man's ring in her pocket, I finally, fully knew. I didn't lose anything. I escaped. I ran into her again. Not Chloe. Helen. I know. Of all people. I didn't even recognize her at first. I was at the Scottsdale Airport lounge waiting for a late flight out to Denver. Just killing time with a coffee and my Kindle. I look up and there she is, standing at the snack counter with a glass of wine and that same high-maintenance energy you can feel across a room. She caught my eye, did a double take, and walked right over. "Louis, isn't it?" "Yep." That was the opener. Not hello, not how are you, just my name like she was confirming a criminal sighting. I stood up. "Mrs. Harding," I said. She stared at me like I was a misfiled tax return. Then she said this, "I swear on my logbook. You sent me that message thinking you were clever. I hope you understand now that you were never the problem." I just blinked. "Sorry, come again?" She sipped her wine like it was blood and leaned in a little. Chloe always had poor judgment. Wyatt needed to learn that for himself. You simply accelerated the process. I didn't know whether to laugh or ask if I was being punked. "You're saying I did you a favor?" She nodded. Actually nodded. "Of course. Wyatt would have found out eventually. Better now than after a wedding. Or children. Or joint accounts. Then she looked around the lounge like the conversation was boring her already and added, "But don't let it get to your head. Chloe was impulsive. You were safe. That's not always enough." And with that, she turned and walked off. Like a villain exiting stage left after delivering one final, unnecessary monologue. I sat down, stunned. And then I started laughing. Because there it was again, the same damn theme, from a different mouth. Safe. It's what Chloe said too, isn't it? I was safe. Not exciting. Not wild. Not what her hormones remembered from junior year. Just safe. Solid. Steady. The guy you build a life with when the fantasy finally dies. Except she didn't realize the irony. The real danger wasn't me. It was chasing a man who still needs permission to love. It was choosing a boy who never grew up over a man who already had. Helen thought she was giving me some kind of backhanded warning, that I was too stable, too predictable. What she actually did was hand me a compliment in disguise. Because if safe means loyal, honest, emotionally intelligent, doesn't ghost people on a whim, and doesn't need parental approval to propose, then call me an airport seatbelt. I'll take safe all damn day. 3 days ago, Chloe tried one last move. Not a text. Not a call. Not an email or a knock on the door. She sent a package. To my parents' house. My mom called me after it arrived. Said, "Honey, there's a box here. No return address, but it's from Phoenix. Did you order something?" I already knew. Told her not to open it. She did anyway. Inside? A photo album. Black leather, heavy, with gold corners. The one Chloe made last Christmas. Louis and Chloe, Our Journey. Full of printed pictures, handwritten captions, ticket stubs, postcards, even that damn fortune cookie from our first date. There was a note taped to the inside cover. "You don't have to forgive me. But I wanted you to remember it wasn't all fake. Some of it was real. I miss who we were. I miss you. See." My mom read the note out loud. There was a long pause. Then she asked gently, "Do you want me to keep this? Or—" "No," I said. "You can throw it out." She didn't argue. Just said, "Good. Because you deserve someone who doesn't need to ruin your life to figure out they loved you." And right there, in that moment, I felt something snap shut in my chest. Not painfully. Not like a wound. Like a door. Done. This woman had ended our relationship, detonated our engagement, left me with nothing but scorched trust and half a refund on a diamond ring, and now she wanted me to remember the good times? That's not nostalgia. That's self-preservation. She's not reaching out because she loves me. She's reaching out because I'm the only part of her life that ever made sense, and now I'm gone. And I mean really gone. She can't fix it. Can't rewrite it. Can't twist it into a story where she was the brave one who followed her heart, and the world just didn't understand. Because the world understood just fine. It watched her blow up a steady, loyal man for a 2-week fantasy, then get publicly dropped by a guy whose mom still buys his toothpaste. Even her own fantasy rejected her. So now? She wants the backup plan back. She wants safe. But I'm not on standby anymore. And I'm done being her redemption arc. She was a chapter. I'm the whole book. I never responded to the album. Didn't return it. Didn't message her. Just let it disappear like the future we almost had. Somewhere out there, Chloe probably still tells herself I overreacted. That it was complicated. That love's messy. But love isn't messy. People are. Love's supposed to be the calm in the storm, not the lightning bolt that sets fire to your plans. So here I am, flying cleaner, sleeping deeper, and building something new with someone who doesn't see me as a consolation prize. She left for a dream that folded in 2 weeks. I stayed, healed, and kept flying. She settled for chaos. I chose peace. And in the end, that's all I needed.